So here's what I have come to conclude, and reluctantly I am pushed to take yet another harebrained and radical position. And it's this. When we say language, we use that word interchangeably with the concept speech. Language and speech to us are the same thing. But I don't think that this was always the case. Language is something which goes very deep into animal organization. Language is the coordination of detail about the present at hand for the purposes of making a model of the world that you can inhabit. And I dare say dogs, cats, birds, reptiles all do this. And if, as Chomsky believes, there are what are called syntactical deep structures in the human brain, they didn't just leap into existence 50,000 years ago. It comes up through the phylogenetic tree. And I got a boost in my ideas about this just 3 weeks ago. There was a fascinating article in Science News about these people who are teaching infants sign language months before they can speak. Months before they can speak. An infant can lie in a crib and in standard American Sign Language explain, "I'm wet, please change me, pick me up, I want a bottle." And this is phenomenal. And this is practical. This isn't just happening in the lab. Soon here at Esalen, there will be courses for parents who want to communicate with their children in the first 18 months of life through sign language. Well, so that's one clue. Then another clue is, a few years ago I encountered an article about this choreographer in New York who had invented a way of writing dance so that even the most idiosyncratic dance, like a dance of Amazon Indians or a Merce Cunningham deal or something like that, there is a way to write it down so that a person who has studied this language of dance can look at it the same way a violinist can look at a musical script and then dance the dance. Well, what that tells you is that dance is under the control of syntactical structure as well. So is sign language, so is spoken language. So what all this leads to is the conclusion that we had language for a long, long time before we had speech. We gestured, we wiggled, we danced, we signed, we painted, we carved, and we communicated very, very well. It may seem as moderns that it would be difficult to communicate without language, but this has to do, and I'll talk more about this, with spoken language, I mean speech. But this has to do with the fact that all forms of media expand to fill the universe. I'm sure you've heard morons say to each other, we don't know what we did before we got cable TV. You know? Well, what they're saying is that this new form of media is so inviting and enticing that it just expands and fills the universe, and you can't tell what you did before. So the bottom line here is speech is an invention. It's not something that we are genetically programmed to do. It's not an innate human ability. It's a skill. It's a technology. It's an invention. You wouldn't believe what a house of cards, the castle of knowledge, turns out to be when you get inside the gates. I mean, it's just a bunch of competitive, farty European characters publishing and hassling, and anything of any substance is totally unsecured. You know, Kurt Gödel in 1948 showed that enough people, I mean, I'm going over time and raving here, I'll leave it at this, but one last thing. Not too many people have assimilated what's called Gödel's incommensurability theorem. What this says is that no formal system will generate all true statements within that system. What that means is that you can't even trust arithmetic. Everything has now been shown to be an artifact of the human mind, and no more fallible or infallible than the 3.5 pounds of neuron mush that produced it. This is an enormous piece of data to arrive on our plates, and most people, as I say, haven't assimilated it. But what it means is finally, when it's all the debris is cleared away, all you have is intuition, aesthetics. The final appeal, Whitehead says, is to elegance of design and intuition. And that hands the whole thing back to the artist and opens a doorway into the imagination that means, you know, we stand on the brink of the first real moments of authentic being and authentic civilization.